take a look at the new Fender Studio app. This is a free recording program for your mobile device, Mac or PC, that features a bunch of built-in guitar and studio style effects. I'm going to be using it in conjunction with the Fender Link I/O, which is a very compact USB bus-powered audio interface. You plug your guitar in here, you plug a USB cable into your phone or your laptop and some headphones, and you're pretty much good to go with either the Fender Studio app or with any other recording program or DAW of your choice. Because this is so portable, I thought it might be fun to just break things up a little bit and go and record a guitar solo in the garden. Why not? Let's hear it. When you open up the Studio app, you've got 4 options on here. You can open a previous session. You can open up a brand new session. You've got the ability to use some of the built-in jam tracks where you've got individual instrumental stems, or you can just immediately record. If you've got an idea you want to get down straight away, you hit this one and it starts a new session and it starts it recording as well, which is pretty handy. The jam tracks are a cool idea as well. So you are presented with a bunch of genres and styles in here. If you wanted to download one of these and open them up, for example, this one, this Echoes of the Glen, I can go OK over here, and you can see I've got the option to immediately create a track for myself. I could create a guitar track over here and set that up. But then I've got an existing backing track in here with individual stems. So let's just have a listen to what this sounds like, and I can come in and mute or solo individual tracks. That's very cool. I like that by having these, it's going to give new users an example of how to organize a session and how you could set up and create your own track, along with things like sections. If we go back and we wanted to open up a new session over here, you're presented with a blank session. I'm going to start off with guitar over here, and I could add my own tracks by recording them on here, or I could import existing audio tracks. This is one of the tracks that I made. It is available on my Patreon. In order to get it into this empty session, I came up to the app menu and I used the import file command over there. It imported it onto a new track. And then this track here is my guitar track. So I plugged my guitar into the Link I/O and recorded the solo that you just heard. So we've got just the track on its own. Very straightforward. And then we've got the guitar over here. Now, this is being processed using the built-in guitar effects on here. So let's just have a listen to what it sounds like without the backing track. So you'll hear a bunch of distortion on there. There is an amp and cab sim, and there's some delay and reverb. I'm also using some post EQ on here. So let's do this. Let's turn all of this off so we can just have a listen to the raw DI over here. I've also got a bunch of delay and reverb, so I'm going to turn those down to start off with. Let's have a listen to this now. So yeah, that's a raw guitar DI, not super inspiring to listen to. We can add the guitar effects in here, and a great way to start with this is to select a preset. So I started with this supersonic crunch in here. Let's just cycle through a couple of different presets over here. Let's try super searing solo. It's actually quite funny hearing that solo with like a rockabilly sound on there. I don't mind that. That is one of the nice advantages of using this plugin style channel strip on here. If we do want to edit this and customize it, we can click on the little menu here, and now you get a display that kind of looks like what you've got on something like the Tone Master. You can see in here, it's this supersonic amp. There are 2 pages here. You've got a whole bunch of controls where you can dial things in. Then you can add pre and post effects. We'll leave the amp as it is. I am just going to press play over here and dial in the core sound. What I'll do is click out of this and I'll reorder the effects on here because I want the reverb last. I want the chorus after the amp sim in there. Let's have a listen to all of this now on the lead. Alternative to that, if I want to leave the delay and reverb off over here, I can add them on their own auxiliary channels. So let's turn those off there, and I'll show you how to do that. We'll get to the compression and EQ over here. You can see in the overall main mix menu, you've got a master delay and reverb over here, which I've dialed in, and then you have the ability on the guitar channel over here to basically send out to them. So let's do that. To finish things off, let's add a little bit of compression and EQ on there. And I'm going to do this in the context of the track here. So you can see I've already got a bit of a preset with a low cut and a mid bump over here. This is going to make quite a big difference over here. So we will start at the start of the track, and I'll just dial this EQ in as I go. The difference that EQ makes on there. I added a bit of expansion and compression on there, some really nice studio style tricks. What I'm going to do now is just level out the guitar and the backing track. Let's have a listen to that. Whenever I'm happy with that, I can export the mix, or I can export this as a session. So if I wanted to load this into another DAW, I can do that. Alternatively, I can do it out. So if I go to export session and I have export audio mix down on here, I can choose the format that I want, WAV, FLAC, or MP3 over here. I can set the resolution up to 64-bit float, as well as basically any sample rate that I like over here. So I could hit export on that, and then you will hear the file that you heard with the guitar solo. I also recorded another guitar solo with this, which I'll play you out in the garden, this time on the Fender Meteora. Same idea, basically the same signal chain. link to the Fender Studio app in the video description if you want to check it out. Again, you don't need the link IO to use this if you've got an existing interface. Having a free program that's really nice and easy to use, even though it's got a more limited set of amps and effects in there for guitar players, it does let you export that entire session, or say export an unprocessed DI. If you take this with you while you're traveling and you record an absolute killer take that you can't live without, you could export it and load it into your existing DAW. It's not really trying to replace something that you may already have if you're experienced with recording, but it is designed as something that is going to get people who've never recorded before into the world of recording. And especially with the Link IO, it's very guitar player friendly. I mean, nearly all of us have one of these. A bunch of you are probably sitting in the bathroom watching this video on one of these. So the idea of adding a tiny little device like the Link IO to turn your phone into a studio is probably an appealing idea. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you like what I'm doing here on the channel, there's links to my Patreon and the music that I make with my band Ragdoll. Have a good one, and I'll see you on the next video.